When I'm in D.C., I leave my apartment at 6 o'clock in the morning and I get back at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. My first 2 years in Congress, I didn't even have a television in my apartment because I was never home. I mean, I'm never there. There's no need to even have cable. It's not quite as glamorous as people think.
I'm a utility player.
Right.
You see, there's marquee players. Right. There's the leading role. We got a Clinton. We got, Governor O'Malley. And then there's the sort of the utility players. That's how it was in college football. A scrapper. Need somebody for a kickoff team? Put me in there. Need somebody for the field goal? I'm ready. Need somebody to carry the water? I'm there. Keep the bench warm? That's me.
I'm a firm believer that what you have to do if you want to be successful is to work really hard at the job you've been given. And I've been given an enormous opportunity to serve in Congress. It's something I don't take lightly.
For me, I kind of keep the lens of what it really means for my community, and that inspires me. That pumps me up. And hey, I'm a competitor, and I'm excited for an election because it's a competition of ideas, and we really have a choice between pathways here.
As a member of the Conference Advisory Committee, Congressman Schock.
Well, thank you for the introduction, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
That's about enough. She wrote a lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know it from morning television. Cory Booker. Hello, Florida!
What's the press like for you? What's the press experience like for you?
Well, the media is a double-edged sword, right? Obviously, you need them in order to communicate with your constituents. You need them to get your message out. It's a free way to communicate, so if you're a candidate running for office and you don't have as much money as the incumbent, the media is even more important in order for you to be able to compete on par with someone who's an incumbent who's maybe got more money than you. But all in all, I embrace it because I know the media is trying to do their job. So we have a kind of a resurgence, if you will, of new people, new blood coming into the Republican Party that's reinvigorated the volunteers and the donors. To me, that's the sign of a great leader. Not just having a vision, but getting other people to follow. Paul has been able to do that. Look, a lot of people are just waking up to the election now that it's Labor Day, coming up on Labor Day. They're putting the kids back in school, they're home from family vacations. They're going to get their first look at Mitt Romney and Ann Romney and Paul Ryan this week. Barack Obama and Joe Biden will have their chance next week. It comes back to that fundamental human connection to say, who do I connect with, who do I relate with, and ultimately, who do I trust?
There'll be time during an election like we're in right now for us to meet out, for any candidates to meet out what their differences is. But in the meantime, what's made America so cynical is that you have politicians that spend entire 4-year cycles just bashing, thrashing, and they think that if we get together and work on something and compromise, that's going to be somehow a detriment to a future election.
I think you see a national Republican Party, and this includes a lot of our congressional delegation here in New Jersey, which is getting far and far more harsh, far and far more divisive, far and far more trying to create enemies and pick winners and losers. We're one of the few countries that get it right. Marrying with the principle of religious freedom and liberty is the principle of equal protection under the law. I can go through an array of issues that this president has done that has empowered the plight of African Americans, Latino Americans, Indian Americans, white Americans, Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and that's really what we need. He's a president about the middle class, not just the middle class who is now, but about expanding those opportunities to everyone.
Oftentimes when Congressman Ryan is talking about the Medicare proposal he laid out, he likens it to some of the catastrophes that we've had in our country's history. Well, from a deficit standpoint, that's where we are as a country. We don't have to wonder what will happen to America if we become an entitlement society. We don't have to wonder as countrymen what will happen if our entitlement systems blow up. We don't have to wonder what will happen to our growth rate as a country if our tax rate continues to balloon to pay for these entitlements. We have case in point examples across the pond to look to.
You can be one of those people who metabolizes your blessings and let them fuel in your heart like fire, driving you forward to fight for this nation's promise. But understand this, I don't ever want you to fight alone. The real test of leadership and character is your ability to bring people together, not divide people, not demonize people, not think that you push some people down just to raise people up.
Thank you.
I'd like to know what you're going to say tonight at the...
I have my speech in my pocket. If I look this way, you can pull it out. It really just hits the points, frankly, that I think are resonant with the platform, what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, we really are a party of ideas. If you read the platform, it cuts through the political rhetoric and really talks about substantive ideas that are going to empower people.
Our platform calls for a balanced deficit reduction plan where everyone, from elected officials to the wealthy and the super wealthy, pay their fair share.
I can't think of a single reason for a young person to vote for Barack Obama. If you look at the rate of unemployment among young people, it's the highest of any demographic in the country. 50% of college graduates last May are still unemployed today. 50% of college graduates in May had to move back in with their parents because of a lack of employment. You look at young people's savings, it's at an all-time low in our country's history. And finally, Social Security and Medicare, those programs are gone for people in their 20s and 30s unless we do something like Paul Ryan has suggested. So we're the only party that's promoting a positive future for the youth of America.
First, you can get caught up in what the media has been focused on. How they're bashing the president, how they're obscuring his record, how they're distorting the truth, how they're lying about things. That could be the way you want to watch that convention. But it's actually not how I watched it, having had the privilege of serving on the platform. I watched it with a different eye. I sat there in amazement on how these people, from Ryan to Clint Eastwood, stood there and did everything they could to distract from the policies, the plans, and the principles of the Republican Party.
There are actually more people today that believe America's greatest days are behind us, not ahead of us. The only other time it's been this high is in 1979 with Jimmy Carter. I hope, like Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama is a one-term president, and I hope, like Ronald Reagan, that Mitt Romney gets elected. I think he can be one of the best presidents we've had. You see, you can get politicians all day long that say we want to deal with the deficit. We want to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. How many times have you heard that? Americans yet to be born will be facing a higher level of taxation, a limited opportunity in a country who is forced to pay for an ever-growing entitlement society. And the reason that I'm so positive about this year's election is because we have men who have demonstrated ability not to lay out plans, but more importantly, to be able to get action.
In my speeches, as you heard, I try to definitely rally people up, but also really point to people to the substance of what's really important in campaigns.
Our nation cannot continue to be the world's #1 economy if we aren't committed to being the world's #1 educator. Our president has already doubled Pell Grants, raised education standards, invested in research and development at our universities and early childhood education in our neighborhoods. This is our platform.
Big day yesterday.
Exciting day.
You're rallying the troops, you're getting standing ovations, you're taking a picture with everybody who wants to take a picture with you, and then you're moving on and on to one of the biggest speeches of your life.
Yes.
What keeps you going from event to event? What keeps you motivated and fresh?
Well, I think it's, I mean, the people in Newark. I mean, when you come out to a national stage, when you come out to a national convention, you take with you those people who live on your block, the kids that are in the public school across the street from where I live, and what this is all about for them.
Looking back, what were some highlights of your experience this past week?
Well, I think first, getting to be with all my constituents at the Illinois Hotel out in Clearwater, Florida, and all of the opportunities to promote Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney.
I look at the substance and policy because I'm not into partisan bashing, and by the way, I don't think either side has a monopoly on the truth.
Well, I definitely think this was a convention focused on issues.
I'm for ideas first, parties second. But these ideas to me are so much stronger. And
I think people are leaving after this week definitely more invigorated and more pumped up for the November election.
This is actually a platform of ideas that can empower America to move forward.
Change is never made in a sedentary position. Democracy is not a spectator sport. You can't sit back and give color commentary about what's going on. You've got to get up and get into the game. And there are real issues at stake in this game. Will we get out our vote? Will we organize our communities? Will we wake people up to the truth?
My focus really is to continue to do the best job I can as a congressman for the 18th district in Illinois. And I think if I continue to do that, then there may be opportunities to advance down the road.
The truth is at the core of humanity. And the power of the people is always greater than the people in power.
Help us make this a reality. Help us save our country from the financial decline that's headed our way if we do nothing. And let us help get Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan elected to office come November. Thank you all for being here.
We're all in this together.
I'm very ready for November.
There are no red states and no blue states. It is the United States of America.